Welcome to Excel and Me course number 1. So in this, and hopefully this is what you're wanting to do, I'm going to show you how to add kids onto a graph and then make sure it's actually graphing those other kids. So this group, I see that there's 7 kids. So if I want to add a couple more rows, I'm just going to click on one of these rows at the end. And if you hit Control and click, you should get this menu that pops up, and you can click Insert, and you can see it's going to add a row. So I'm going to add in a couple rows there. So the only problem is it's not as simple as just adding those names in. Is there's kind of a formula tagged into the graph. So you want to make sure whatever changes you make here that you also change on the graph. So this is group 7. So if I go to the group 7 chart down here, if you click on this chart here, you should see where you're going to get some different options up here. You have format and you have chart design. If you click on chart design and select data, that's where you're saying, where do I want the data for this graph to come from? So this one, it nicely pulled it up for you, so you can just make sure that you have it all there. The only problem is it cut off these last 2 rows. So it's going to graph all of the date and the group members, but you can see it's not going down. It should include these bottom rows with the target there. So I'm going to just hit the Shift button. So I'm holding down, I know you can't see me hitting on the keyboard, but I'm holding down the Shift button, and I'm going to click to this bottom row. Oh, for some reason we're getting some funky. So I'm going to just click out of that because it was going over here. Basically, where you see these green dots where it's on number 4, anything outlined in that is what you're telling it to graph for you. So you want to start with group member. You don't want to include the kids' names because remember, parents are going to potentially be looking at this, so you don't want to include those. So you want to go from the group member down to the target and then all the way to the last cell. So click on group member. So if you've cleared it out, because mine just went wonky for some reason, and I'm holding down Shift again, and I'm going to click in this last cell. So now you can see this whole big box is highlighted with that little green moving rectangle. So it's filling all of this in here. This is what all of these little formulas mean, where it's just saying, hey, take all of this information and graph that for me. So we're going to click OK. And then you can see now where it added, because I didn't change the numbers over, but you can see where there's extra numbers there and the targets there and included. So you just want to always make sure anything you add here, if you add extra rows, that you make sure that you change your data that it's pulling. So I'm going to do that one more time, just so if we need another example. So if I want to do right here on this one, so say I want to add a row in between Phoenix and Haley Mobley, I'm hitting Control, I'm clicking Insert, and I've added a row there. So I have room to put another kid right there if I wanted to. So this is group 6. So then I'm clicking on group 6 chart. So you can see right now I still have my 1 through 8 kids, but when I go here, really I have this here. So I'll just renumber this so we can see. So I have 1 through 9 there, but if I go to my group 6 chart, oh, it did change that, but we're missing number 7 there. So that's telling me that something's off, that it's not pulling all of that because I added rows. So I'm going to click on this again. I'm going to go to chart design. I'm going to go to select data, and it's going to pull me back to that. So you can see that row that I added isn't highlighted. So it's pulling the data above it and it's pulling the data below it. So I'm just going to click in the group member, start there. I'm holding down the Shift on my keyboard, and I'm going to click in this bottom right box. So now it's highlighting everything, including that new row that I had. And I'm just going to click OK, and now I can go back and I can see I have 1 through 9 consecutively, plus those 2 blank ones, or 1 blank one after, and the target. So you have 1 through 9, this row here, which is the average, which really we could delete those, we don't need those, and then the target row. So it's pulling all of that information on there. So, and you have the dates up until what you've filled in. So anytime this isn't matching what's on here, you always just need to click and make sure it's pulling the right data on there. Hopefully that's what you wanted, and you learned something in your first Excel and Me course. If you have any other requests, let me know.